My upload today is with regard to my original sharing about the human rights abuses and treason that I'm experiencing in my home country, a democracy. Um, the shares and uploads as of 2018-2019, I titled A Sad Sign of the Times. At that point of this controversial vendetta of wrongdoings and offences and misconduct and the character assault that I was experiencing and that I am still experiencing to this day was and still is significant for the individuals that are able to identify and relate with the circumstances that are occurring. As a humanitarian and as a married mother, the issues of wrongdoings for any innocent person, a law abiding citizen, is just shocking to come to terms with. It's not a circumstance that anyone would be able to prepare for. The issue of the original uploads that stipulated the original offences that I experienced that were not addressed, and the issue of treason against my royal bloodline and my child, were to share and bring to the public knowledge the insanity of the circumstances. As a recovery advocate, my personal experiences were exposed and highlighted and discussed. There were breaches of confidentiality, and there were information topics that I did not consent to any individuals to discuss regarding my past, which would not really incriminate any circumstances of my past, but would have highlighted moments of my past that weren't shared in a consensual manner or in a respectful manner by those individuals that breached anonymity and confidentiality. So, as a recovery advocate, the issue of anonymity and the fellowship that I represent and the recovery path that I am of and the individuals that I have helped along the way are aware from these uploads the awful circumstances I've been presented with. It is common knowledge that there have been individuals brazenly trespassing into my marriage, marital home, family, etc., and they have caused very serious problems. As a recovery advocate, it's quite insane to consider these actions of culprits where they have had no rights whatsoever and have caused insurmountable problems for society with their publicity and their breaches of confidentiality and anonymity. The issue of being a recovery advocate is a very serious task for the advocate and the recoverer. So the individuals that are disrespecting the fellowship traditions and principles, and that are disrespecting faith and family, and that are offending the Constitution, have to this day exacerbated their offences. My original uploads, which is the point I'm making in Sad Sign of the Times as I titled it, this is all a personal documentary with regard to the circumstances of my child being unlawfully separated from me. No legal or just fair trial, no legal documentation on the occasion of his separation. No grounds or factors that are met for such a separation were present, as I keep reiterating, and no due process of acknowledgement from the relevant individuals that should have resolved this in 2017. The issue of my marriage being imposed upon was very intrusive, very outrageous, really, how individuals that have rearranged circumstances to suit themselves in an attempt of property theft of two beautiful farm holdings of my ancestry and my child and I, and my marriage, brazenly causing me these amount of problems and disrespecting my privacy and defaming my good name. So these are all treasonous offences in 2021. My royal bloodline, as I've mentioned, is quite precious. And there have been people also that have exposed the personal information of my ancestry that they had no right to attain. So there's a very dangerous matter after occurring with regard to the constitutional rights, my humanitarian rights, and my royal patronage. So the issue of anonymity that has been breached as well, not only with regard to my royal bloodline, but also my role as a recovery advocate and my personal life that individuals have intruded upon, have caused very serious circumstances discussing matters that they are not privy to, that they have not had consent to access information about or discuss. So my personal past is quite harmless. I'm an advocate, I'm a humanitarian, I've travelled at home and abroad to work for the betterment of education. So I find it quite astounding that the offences I'm experiencing are occurring and that there is more harm intended for me by individuals that are not prepared to address their damages, harms, and losses that are really quite offensive to many others also. So the issue of having a missing child in a democracy is quite serious, that the relevant agencies have not even bothered to address or acknowledge or repair. So I'm quite astonished that my humanitarian work is being disrespected, my recovery work is being disrespected, and my property in Ardfert and Kilflin, regardless of illegalities and unlawful actions and trespassers and intruders that I'm fully aware of, trying to displace and dispose of Mrs. Maria McElligott of Ardfert and Kilflin, the lawful mother of Garrod McElligott, a legally missing person, and a process of procedures that I commenced in 2017 still not duly enacted or transacted. So there's been a lot of slander and defamation, a lot of wrongdoings, and those people causing displacement to attain my property and that have breached confidentiality are endangering society. As a sacred royal, as a universal light worker, I have worked for the betterment of society and I have helped many people in recovery. So it's a sad sign of the times, as I'm entitling this documentary, with regard to people that have imposed upon me and that have disrespected the principles of civil society. So the theft that is occurring is quite gargantuous. It's a vast amount of theft with regard to my royal patronage. It's a very dangerous offence. It's very careless of the relevant agencies of society not to be addressing these issues in the legal manner and procedural process that is their obligation, and the obligations that are due to my identity have not been respected either. So as of Fernandez bloodline, I'm quite astonished that treason is still being facilitated. The wrongdoings that I highlighted in 2018 in my original uploads were with regard to the original offences, and the avoidance tactics and the evasion tactics and the exacerbation tactics and the awful slander of an innocent woman's character, reputation and good name and good work is very shocking, to say the least, when a clean track record is being damaged by people that have not respected their own principles. The very fact that they have not practiced by their own principles is highly concerning. There's a hypocrisy that I'm not comfortable with. There's a lot of contradictions, and there's a lot of inaccuracies, to say the least, and that's terming it mildly. But the individuals that are displacing a farmholder, a married mother, law-abiding citizen, and withholding my wealth from me, imposing denigration, withholding my wealth, and after damaging my body and my health. Health is wealth, as they say. So I'm quite astonished in a modern day democracy that these offences are being tolerated. It's very serious what I'm enduring. And this upload is just to highlight the exacerbatory nature for a universal light worker to stipulate how it has gone from a level 5 in offences to a catastrophic level of offences at the present moment, with worse than what was originally perpetrated. So the original offences were quite bad. A child being separated unlawfully from his mother, as we all know, is a very dangerous offence. And what has happened in the meantime is even more dangerous. So my thoughts are with my son today, unlawfully without the care of his mother, traumatized due to professionals not doing their jobs properly and continuing their evasion tactics, and withholding the care of a mother's, withholding a mother's care from her child. That's probably the worst sin in society. So I really hope everyone is aware of how dangerous the situation has been caused for me by those that have been culpable of crimes against the Constitution, as far as I'm concerned, displacing me with further slander and defamation and offences, and disrespecting my royal bloodline and my good work. It's absolutely abhorrent, and I'm going to use the same fixed language. I'm going to stipulate this very clearly with regard to the individuals that are harassing my privacy and my work and my experiences. I've had to use very fixed language, so I'm just going to, because the reportage and critique of this entire situation that I'm fully entitled to approach in these uploads with respect for the freedom of speech, etc. There have been individuals that have tried to, put their own twist on this matter. So I'm experiencing all these human rights abuses, and the original uploads and the present day uploads just highlights a high level of incompetence of individuals that are disrespecting my property, my matrimony, and my beautiful child, and my profession, and my work that I have achieved in and throughout society, at home and abroad. And those withholding my wealth and spending my wealth. We know what they say about ill-gotten gains. So financial theft that I am aware of, that has been reported in my DPP impact statements, and the property theft occurring, and the slander of my character. I really hope you are all aware of how dangerous the situation has been caused with harms against an innocent mother due to other people's acquisitions and breaches of confidentiality and anonymity of a recovery advocate of the fellowship that has had respect for the traditions and principles and the steps for the past 15 years.